Hey, good morning, everyone. Yes, Nancy, we will get to that here in just a few moments. Welcome to the Good Morning Weather Blog. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode on this Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk to you guys. My apologies. We've been working on some different systems, and you'll be hopefully benefiting from that in the coming days and weeks ahead. But always a fun time when you work on computer systems, right? Things sometimes go one way, go the other way. We just kind of go with the flow, basically. And nothing makes you feel more like a boomer, like I am, when you work on some of the stuff. But anyway, it's always a pleasure to see you guys. The weather's been quiet, so that's been a big plus when you have anything going on other than weather. It's part of your duties every day. So I hope you guys are doing well. I think the biggest issue right now, I mean, yeah, everyone's talking about how dry it is, how smoky it is, but I think everyone's also talking about how dry it is as far as they're affecting their sinuses. Everyone's coughing and sneezing and sore throats, and the allergies are being amped up. So I'm not sure if any of you right now are watching type 1, if you're dealing with some of that right now. So I'm just curious how many of you are battling some of that. Some of that I do think is allergy, but it wouldn't surprise me that some of the smoke from the wildfires is actually helping to prolong that or aggravate it and keep it agitated a little longer than before. So kind of a weird setup here as of late. All right, Karen, hope you feel better. Saw your post there. Hi, Angela. Hope you're doing well as well. Hello to Glenda down into good old hazy Bardstown right now, right? Hope you're doing well there, Glenda. Nancy, on your question of the baby shower on Sunday, I'll get to that in a second. There will be some rain around, but it's not a washout. So hopefully the next few maps will cover all that. And if you guys are new here, and I don't think you are based on the names I've seen, I'm just going to go through all the quick setup, the headlines, some of the mapping. And then if you still have some questions for the end of this, by all means, let me know. And I'll try to get to those before I wrap up here today. Okay, let's start off with, let's see what's today. New Albany, a little bit of it. So really a hazy sky there, looking from the Sherman-Minton Bridge, looking toward the west, toward the east. I'll get it right. Toward the city of Louisville. In fact, Louisville is right. Can't even see it. It's so faint. Right there is the city of Louisville in the distance there. So again, very, very hazy outside. There are times too, especially in the afternoon, there's so much haze. You look outside and it looks like a thunderstorm is about to hit any second because the sky gets so dark on one end. But that's just really the poor visibility that you're looking at. It's pretty wild. As I mentioned, we are in a dry stretch of weather, which is another big headline besides the smoke. We can now move this to, looks like it's going to be 17 days. I doubt we'll get anything measurable by midnight. So this should be 17 days of no rainfall into the Louisville area. And I was looking at some of the stats on this. Now, as of yesterday, when I was looking this up, our 15-day stretch of dry weather, it ranks number one for the past 3.5 years. I went all the way back to 2020. The number two slot was a dry stretch of weather in July of 2021. But the current stretch that we have is the longest. So, yeah, it's the driest we've been in 3.5 years. Really stands out. I knew it was getting dry, but I didn't realize how wet we were in comparison, because it really seems like we've had longer dry spells than this, but this is it. So our ground obviously has been through a lot of our plants. The December cold was extremely difficult on a lot of the perennials that we have and shrubs in the area. So I know a lot of us are still trying to recover from replanting and trimming from what happened in December, but you go from a wet pattern that we had early in the spring into a very dry drought scenario for the late spring. That also was very hard on a lot of our plants. So this is not an easy plant year, not an easy one at all. It's causing a lot of digging up, re-landscaping, and replanting. So I feel for you guys, you gardeners out there, it's not fun. And perennials or annuals right now are having a really tough time because you need rain every day for annuals to get going. Perennials can hold their own, but annuals, yeah, it's a different ball game. So I'm not sure if I'm going to put some out this year. I really don't. I'm kind of debating it. All right, back on track with weather as I get off my tangent. This is just ground clutter. This is not rain. Don't get too excited. You can see hints of the haze on my monitor. I don't think you can on your phone or your computer at home, but on my monitor, there is a hint of the haze that's in the region. And a lot of people are asking, oh, why isn't there an air quality alert that is out today? Well, a couple of things with that. Air quality alerts are issued by the Air Pollution Board, the districts of each one of the metropolitan cities. They then contact the Weather Service. The Weather Service actually issues the alert that will go out to our systems, our graphic systems, and gets put on their website as well. And that's when you see the air quality alert displayed. But there are certain criteria that metropolitans go by for what they measure. And in some cases, smoke like this isn't always a factor. It's more of an ozone issue and the CO2 levels that are being monitored more so than the other particles you can find in smoke. So while there is no official air quality alert, I don't want you guys to think that air is, fine. It's just that there's different criteria for them on that. That could still change if they see a spike in a different level, one of the other parameters. But everywhere, if you have any issue with respiratory issues today, just take extra precaution. Don't worry about if there's an alert or not. I hope that made sense. Here is where the smoke has been originating from. It's been wildfires into eastern areas of Canada. Our flow for the past, 2 months, seems like, has been more of a north to northeast wind, not a south wind. Normally we get help from New Orleans, Destin, Florida, Panama City. That south wind gets involved. We get humidity, we get showers, we get thunderstorms. We also get the heat index and sweating like crazy. But our wind flow, our entire global pattern is in a block. So because of that, our wind flow is coming from Canada, and that's a dry angle, first off. So any cold front that drops down usually has limited moisture. Secondly, because there are wildfires in that spot, we get the smoke that keeps funneling down into our area. And even after this little wave moves on by and we get some rain in the next, 20 hours or so, we will then deal with another round of smoke that will likely drop in from the north as we into later on for the week here. So we're not done with the smoke after this. It will come back as long as the fires are still ongoing into eastern Canada. Here's the outlook on the smoke today. Again, it's around now. We'll continue to enhance through about lunch today. Starting to push a little more into our southern counties by evening. So the next few hours, especially if you don't need to go out and walk the dog or work on anything in the yard today, don't do it, especially if you're already kind of struggling. You got that cough, that tickle, whatever. Just don't push it, because this would only just aggravate it a little more. You can actually smell the smoke. I certainly did this morning when I opened the door and walked outside. I was like, yep, there it is. So, all right, so there's the smoke issue. Now we need some rain to clear the air out. Now we do have some rain that we'll try to pop, not so much this afternoon and really not so much this evening. There could be a few little green blips, but the air is pretty dry, so I don't think anything's going to make it. But once we get into the overnight hours, the first little angle of rain will begin to approach. Now here's what's odd about this one. Everything I feel like I'm saying here lately is odd, because it is odd. The first flow of rain, and everything's coming at an angle, a very sharp angle too, from a northwest to almost due south, but generally a little bit of southeast. That at that angle, the amount of moisture is going to basically train over the same spots, but also move. It's not overly heavy rain, but it is going to be angled in only certain areas of wave country. It's going to be a little stripes, if you will, one there, one here, and one here, and then one here. That's kind of how it'll progress. Ugh. I think I just swallowed a gnat anyway. Yeah, protein. So the waves of rainfall that drop in from the north that will be dropping in will have gaps in them. So yes, is there a chance that one or two of you could get skipped completely? You see all these bands form around you, and then you get nothing. You just stand there looking out the window like, where is it? Yeah, I do think it's probably going to be my street, to be honest. But I do think there will be areas that will get missed. So just be aware of that and plan for that. Don't bet on the idea the rain's coming and then you're not have to do any more watering for the rest of the week. I would bet on the idea that you would get missed and be hopeful when they do arrive, hopefully, and put some rain down. And then we're only talking about a quarter of an inch. It's not much. Not enough to change the drought status for sure. The ground gets sampled today from the drought monitor, and we will have the result of their map from today of their sampling. It will come out Thursday. This looks to begin, I would say, after midnight, but some of the modeling's waiting until almost sunrise tomorrow morning to really bring it in. We'll continue that through about, I would say, lunch tomorrow, and then the sun comes right back out. Now, as we head into tomorrow night, I want you to keep an eye on this area of Kentucky, central areas. If we were to get some rain showers during the daytime period on Wednesday and you don't get the sun to break free until later in the afternoon, you stay mainly cloudy after having morning rain, then you will be in a perfect spot to get a fairly widespread fog to develop. And the area I circled, you'll see it fill in right there as we get into early on Thursday. So the rain part's key. So you got to get the ground wet for that to form. And so that looks to be the best chance to get some fog. So be aware of that. There could be a fog advisory issued for Friday or Thursday, just for the idea of fog that could form. And then once that dissipates, another issue when you have a fog is what we call differential heating. In other words, you go from a foggy setup and it creates temperatures on Thursday will be much cooler where the fog is, and then the sun is out everywhere else. Thermometer heats up, but once the fog dissipates, the thermometers that were in the fog zone are way behind. So they try to catch up, and that creates an imbalance. And sometimes you can get spotty showers to even form then in the fog zone as well. So you could get a little bonus shower Thursday afternoon because you had the fog. I know it's all woulda, shoulda, coulda, whatever, how that saying goes. That's kind of how it plays out here with this one. After that, looking good on Friday, looking good on Saturday. This next wave for Sunday does have a little more of a dig to it. This is going to allow a little more of a southwest wind to get into the area. Remember, we haven't had much of a southwest wind, right? It's all been from Canada. So this one has a chance to try to scoop up some moisture. It's just moving too daggone fast. Because of that, it's going to have a time limit of mainly just Sunday for impacts. But I do think it has a chance to give us some rain and maybe some thunderstorms as we head into Sunday night. It is possible. So Nancy, I'm not sure what time your shower is. Right now, the higher rain chance is a little more prevalent later in the day than earlier in the day. That's all I can tell you at this point. It's too early. But there could be some heavy rain and thunder with that. It moves on by. Then, of course, the lull will stall over the area as we head into next week and could even retrograde a little bit backwards to keep maybe an isolated shower early next week. But cool weather. This is not a hot pattern setup when you see a low like that. And then that will move on out of here. I was keeping on the CSU. This is one of the experimental sites using technology to try to gauge severe weather events way in advance. And we're not in a severe risk or anything on Sunday, but it is indicating that potential, at least for the southern part of the area, may be realized when we get a little closer. We'll see if that happens to be the case or not. I think it depends on the speed of that little wave on Sunday, but because it is a southwest wind, a little higher moisture level, you can get a little more of a stronger storm threat. Otherwise, the next 10 days is at 3 o'clock. Okay. All right. Nancy got me there. 3 o'clock. Okay. Well, at 3 o'clock, you'll be right when they're likely forming, but you could get lucky and get maybe an hour or two in. If it's inside, I'm not sure if it's in or out. We're all about Nancy's bridal shower here. If it's inside, you'll be fine. It's just folks may have to dodge some rain when they're leaving. And again, some of that's going to be a good soaking rain. So hopefully no one complains. Here's the pattern rim. We call this the Omega block because the jet stream takes on the look and the symbol of the Greek sign Omega. So because of that, the weather pattern is stuck. It's the same story here. It's the same story across the globe in England, whether it's Europe into Asia. The same headlines are hitting the news right now, whether it's flooding and drought, a lot of wind, colder than normal weather. All that stuff comes into a factor. We saw with the tropical system Arlene that formed in the Gulf. Where did Arlene go? Good question. Had nowhere to go, so it faded away. So it's one of those setups where the blocking pattern is just got everybody just kind of chilling out, kind of like the movie Inception, right? Everyone's just kind of frozen there for a minute. Now, once this pattern breaks down, things are going to change in a big way for the rest of the summer. But when will that happen? The Pacific jet's going to be key on that because we've got such a strong El Nino forming. If this jet breaks through and loses the little middle portion of the Omega here, becomes just a straight jet into the lower 48, we may then, by mid-June, get back into talk of severe weather and severe weather outbreaks. And your favorite, wind, may come back into play. But that pattern has to break down before we get to that. And right now, the earliest indication I see in that is about June 15th to June 17th appears to be the time frame that we're seeing. So we'll just take it one step at a time and see if that indeed is the case. All right. You guys good? Any questions? Any questions? Yes, Mel's got questions. Hello, Mel. Going to Patoka Lake on Sunday and Monday. Not an all-day soaker, no. It's going to be a wave of rain and thunder. For you being a little more west, it's probably going to be a little more mid-afternoon that you would see the darkening skies. They'll end up with some rain and thunderstorms. And then once you get to Sunday night, it really will taper down quite a bit. Then Monday, you'll be cooler on Monday because that low will retrograde and slow. And I don't think it'll get too much in the way of rain in your area, but you may be close. So keep an eye to the outlook on that as we get a little closer there. All right, guys, I am going to run. You're welcome, Karen, anytime. You guys have a good rest day. Good to see you all, as always. And let's hope this pattern just changes and we just get to talk about snow. Again, I don't know. I miss snow. Don't you miss snow?